Do you want to date me? It's like, ew, man, you are disgusting, dude. I would never ever even consider you for that. I immediately dismiss women who are on the pill. And it also means, well, as we all know, the only reason why they do it is so someone can raw dog them like pigs, right? So you're taking a toll on your mind, on your hormones, and on your health. So some other dude who is not me, so he can blast inside of you, right? So he can bust a nut in your insides. It's like, yeah, look, you know what? I'm not interested. I would rather date a pig than date a woman who takes the birth control. It's disgusting. And you also get a guarantee if the woman's been on the pill, first off, that she's been blasted, right? Someone has ejaculated in her insides at least hundreds of times, right? And then you also get this bonus that she's probably way more unstable than if she didn't take the pill, which, as mentioned, women by default are like super fucking unstable. But when they take the pill, they become so fucking disbalanced. Like they take fucking years to physically adapt after they stop taking the pill, right? I've seen a lot of them develop acne and whatever the shit not. I mean, it's just so bad. It's so bad. Uh, and you know, you can deal with that if you want, right? It's just disgusting, guys. Don't date women who are on birth control. Because they are also happen to be extremely unbalanced and unstable, not only physically but also mentally, because that's how the pill affects them, right? There's just so many negatives to modern women. I can keep going on and on and on and on. But probably the worst of them, guys, the worst of them all, is that they are simply not loyal, right? Because all the other bad things, like you could, we're gonna leave it on this one. She's pretty. All the other things you could like forget about or say, okay, we'll work through them. But that's the worst part is that you can take all that shit in, right? You can get a massive gallon of shit down your throat, but they will still leave you. Like, even if you decide to be Captain Save-A-Ho, alright, I'm gonna put up with the average fucking Floyd that's being ran through and has 99 problems and comes with baggage. Even if you decide to put up with it, they are still gonna leave you. It's like nothing guarantees that women will be loyal. Nothing guarantees that they will stand by your side. That's the worst part of it. It's like even if for some reason you decide to build with one of these fucking it's like a tornado. You're trying to build a house with a tornado. Hey, Mrs. Tornado, do you want to build a house together? And then they always leave, right? And just like a tornado, guys, they take the
strap in because we're about to go on a rant ride. The hater was watching UFC, and the main event made me sick. The UFC has no business being as big as it is. The main event was Islam Makhachev butt humping a superior man for 25 minutes. It pissed me off to no extent. The other guy butchered his face, but because Islam Makhachev was able to hold on to the other guy's balls for 20 minutes, he's declared the winner and the champion. Now, not to disrespect Islam Makhachev because he was fighting a bigger, younger guy, so kudos to him for pulling it through by any means necessary. But this highlights something that's been happening in sports and entertainment for a long, long time, and nowhere has it happened worse than in the WWE. Triple H, get your head out of your ass. It's time to take wrestling to where it belongs, at the very top of sports and entertainment. Wrestling was at one point the greatest thing you could watch on TV. Larger than life characters, feeling like they came out of comic books, with bigger and better personalities than characters of comic books, doing cool things, having cool storylines, and people were watching in the millions, cucks. WWE didn't give a damn about Monday Night Football, let alone pussy-ass competitions like the Olympics. They're like, oh, the dog show was on this week. Maybe that's why Raw can't draw like 2 million. You know what I mean? Those excuses were never made. The Rock would come out and he'd be like, this is the number one show on TV because The Rock is on it. And not only did he believe it, everyone believed it. Nobody gave a flying fuck about other sports back then. Obviously, other sports were big, but wrestling was on par with them. There were discussions back then on where the future of sports is going to go because the implication was wrestling is in such a role, right? It has its finger on the pulse of culture like other sports don't. You know, I'm talking about competing somewhat with the Jordan era, right? Michael Jordan, arguably one of the greatest athletes of all time, definitely top 10, you know what I mean? Definitely the best basketball player, probably of all time. You know, there are debates to be had in basketball, unlike other sports, right? Like in football, there's no debate. It's Tom Brady. In hockey, they tell me it's Wayne Gretzky and there's no debate, right? Like there's no debate in many sports, but there's a debate in basketball, which, you know, pushes basketball forward. But Michael Jordan, motherfucker, had trouble. Like baseball was dying. You know what I mean? These sports were dying because even on ECW, like New Jack would come out and he'd be like, the NFL fucking sucks. And everyone would cheer, right? He's like, they're a bunch of pussies. Everyone would cheer. Sandman would come out and then, like, drink a beer. People would lose their minds. The Dudley Boys would almost start riots. On WWF, which was the precursor to WWE, the same thing happened to a lesser extent. Like, Mike Tyson would go there and Stone Cold would be like, I don't give a damn about this guy. I'll beat his ass, right? Wrestling was so fucking awesome, right? And nowadays, wrestling is inferior to a fucking man grabbing another man by the ass, right? They're humping each other in the middle of the ring, in the middle of the octagon, right? People are like, wow, what a fight. What the fuck are you talking about? Fucking lame ass shit. None of that stuff was entertaining in the slightest. How could anyone be entertained by this garbage? You know, in my opinion, Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship is going to take over because it's the only institution that understands that sports have to be entertaining. Like NFL has gotten an insane boost from the out of nowhere advent of fantasy football. A lot of people don't even give a fuck. Nobody gives a shit anymore, man. People are just there. They watch the Super Bowl and because it's a cultural event, right? And then they play their fantasy football so they might catch a game. Nobody gives a shit about this. Boring ass like football players. Oh, I think my teammates are my friends and the other team, I like them too. No, fuck that. Fuck you. Michael Jordan was like, I fucking hate everyone in this league. I am better than all of them. Larry Bird was like, I fucking hate everyone here. I'm the best. Everyone felt like a character, even in other sports back then. Nowadays, you got, like I said, right, one man grabbing another man's ass on pay-per-view. And people are watching this shit. Who the fuck? How is this company, the UFC, even in business? Who the hell cares now? You know, it's just a bunch of wrestlers. They push the guy to the cage, they drag him down. They're like, I am the best fighter in the world. Now you're barely a fighter, man. You're a wrestler. You're barely a fighter in a street fight. For those of you that don't know, wrestling doesn't fucking work. Every fight ends up on the ground. No, it doesn't. What the fuck are you talking about? Every fight ends up on the ground when one guy destroys another guy, ends up on top of him, right? It's not like the other guy from the bottom does an arm bar. You've never seen that in a fight. No one's ever seen that in a fight. In the real world, you can't push someone against the cage because there's no cage, right? And that's why fights, like, are exciting in general. You see a fight, people are like, holy shit, a fight's happening, right? But in the UFC, they've sanitized it while also basically saying, oh, this is like the worst because you can kick people. Who gives a shit? Nobody ever kicks anybody. Oh, leg kick? Fucking lame as fuck. And I don't want to hear, you're just a casual. When did you start watching? UFC 1, motherfucks. I started watching UFC 1. So suck my balls. Now, back to wrestling and how this horseshit has died under Triple H, and if we're being honest, under Vince McMahon as well. Since they went corporate and they went PG in order to prostitute themselves so they can make easier money, right? The excitement of wrestling has died down. This company should be worth like hundreds of billions of dollars. It should be one of the biggest companies in the world. In the world, motherfucks. But nobody gives a fuck about wrestling because just like everything else, wrestling has gotten less exciting. You know, you might as well have people playing grab ass on SmackDown. You got fucking CM Punk and Kevin Owens, two fucking losers.
See how that will transpire, but we're ready for the big main event here on Collision.
Your main event is an Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament set for one fall. Introducing first, from Fukuoka, Japan, Hazuki.
Hazuki, who a week ago, right on this program, beat Maya World in her Collision debut. A lot of success for this young lady.
A very impressive matchup. She said afterwards to her opponent, tonight you liked me, next week you will hate me. Persephone, her opponent.
Yeah. I might say that a little longer. What's the deal with Fauci? Was he responsible for the code going to arrest you? And I think that's a great idea. I go so far as to say that if Mandami interferes with ICE and tries to make New York City a sanctuary city, not only should Trump arrest him, he should have ICE deport him back to Uganda. Right? Not like he's a birthright citizen. He's been naturalized, but I mean, again, he's clearly not very American with his ideas. Right? My opinion says me. Swola. All right, cool. I guess that's a compliment. Focusing on getting leaner now. I'm probably not going to gain much more muscle for a bit. I mean, I might recomp a little while I'm cutting, but I've got to just focus on getting lighter. Yo, what's up, Coach? Coach doing lots and lots of cardio. That's what we do in training with Chad. I got to get lean, man. Good for my health. Good for my fitness outreach. Not my other outreach. You know, it doesn't matter to my political stuff. Abs are not going to help me with my political stuff, which is vastly becoming more important than my fitness stuff. Why aren't you? Why would I want to right now? Honestly, Coach, what if you did a reaction videos? I would rather slam my weenie in a sliding glass door than watch other fitness videos and react to them. My fitness content will never be my top earner ever again. I've already realized this. There's not enough money in fitness. My fitness content will never pay the bills again. Literally nothing I could do would cause that. So why would I subject myself to having to watch a bunch of butt-fucking retards who know nothing about training or biomechanics? All they know how to do is shoot a gram of trim. Why would I watch these ass clowns back to their nonsense and literally hemorrhage IQ points for an extra $17? Why? Explain that to me, Danny. Hey, Danny, I'm probably going to ban you for arguing with me when I give you a hypothetical note. Just an FYI. You've already suggested several times as someone I've noticed when I told you no, you kept pushing. You're probably going to be a rapist. I just assume by default that when you say no to someone and they keep pushing, like, don't ever let your daughter around that person. Jesus Christ. Like, they're going to be a sexual predator. Like, they just have that mindset. People who can't take no for an answer are usually just piece of shit predators. Just as a character trait. Sorry, but it's a red flag. It was a hypothetical, dude. I'm going to have to be really, really desperate for money to watch other fitness content and not just decide life isn't worth living. They're that stupid. These people are literally that stupid, and I literally just can't stand. I lose IQ points watching fitness influencers. I literally hemorrhage like 5, 10 IQ points every time I watch one. I need like 3 or 4 hours just to regain my intelligence after listening to one. It's that bad. These people are that stupid. It's just ridiculous. Oh, we got one of the regular haters rolled into the thing. Dylan, just go ahead and spam whatever. You can call me a pedo. You can make fun of it. I don't care, dude. You're just like a fat, useless piece of shit anyways. I can see you, dude. All right. Liberals, man. Militant liberals or something else. What's the minimum number of sets a week someone strong? Right, he's crazy strong. You know. But therein lay the problem, though. Like, we get the freaks of nature, or the freaks of nature combined with chemistry. They're interesting to watch. Just don't try to learn from them. Because unless they're going to teach you how to build a time machine and pick better parents. So first step, right? First step is you got to be very careful in selecting your mother, because mitochondrial DNA comes through the female side, and that's the powerhouse of the muscle cell, right? So step one, select your mother's entire family line going back 1,000 generations very, very, very carefully. That's the most important lesson they can give you. Be very, very careful with your mom's family line, going back 1,000 generations. What do you think Thor will be his 5'10"? Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's Danny, do you think people know? Hey, Danny, I already warned you, don't tell me how to run my business. Get the fuck out of here. That's one of my pet peeves, by the way. My real life friends already know that. Like, you want to get on my bad side, tell me how to run my business. Tell me how to run my business when you have not made more money than me, provable at that same endeavor. Boy, I'll unfriend you and block you in real life and block you on my phone and tell you you're not welcome in my house. So you just got banned. I warned you. All right. Let's see. Dan Sanders. What? So he's over here making fun of the libtard. Yeah, man. Don, you gotta take these liberal retards with a grain of salt, brother. You have to. They're mentally ill, right? They're mentally ill.
GTA 6, the most anticipated event in human history, even more anticipated than the news that Asmongold has been duped by a Chinese spy, who turns out is a man, in fact. Now granted, he already knew it and he was completely fine with it, but still quite shocking, honestly. In any case, there are rumors and a lot of people are talking about the fact that GTA 6 is Sweet Baby Inc. infested. That's right. And maybe even Anita Sarkeesian is gonna step in the ring. At this point, honestly, GTA 6 deserves to fail. After all the counter-consumer things that they have done, and sheer disdain that they have showed against their fan base, they do honestly deserve to fail. But there's a lot of talk about GTA 6 going rogue, and particularly Sweet Baby Inc.'s involvement. So I decided to look in what's actually happening, what's true and what's not. And what I found is pretty interesting, honestly. It's a little bit more muddy than you would honestly think. So, the claim that Sweet Baby Inc. works with Rockstar on GTA 6 originated roughly 2 years ago, and the very first sign or post of that was from r/gaming circle jerk. And this is a verified Reddit post, which means it means nothing. Only idiots moderate Reddit. And the post is very simple. It's a post about Sweet Baby Inc. working on GTA 6, and especially they worked on narrative and character consultation with a focus on representation, which is a real thing that they actually do. Multiple games do have exactly this type of wording and exactly say this. And, well, this was the start of it. And, you know, then you have a bunch of other places like Hindu State. What the hell is this? In any case, even a bunch of other news sites have picked up on the fact that GTA 6 fans fear narrative shift as Sweet Baby Inc. involvement sparks quality concerns. So this was also 2 years ago, and it seems like this is effectively currently resurfacing. And we even more have this, which was also 2 years ago, the fact that the Sweet Baby client list does show Rockstar Games, in fact. And, well, you know, Sweet Baby Inc. just overhauled their client list and it's gone. But thankfully, there is an archive. And when we look at the archive, well, we don't actually see their Rockstar being in their client list. In fact, when you look at it, it is Wizards of the Coast. This is exactly where the Rockstar should be. But in this archive, it is in fact Wizards of the Coast. Now, this probably would make a lot of people think that this is fake. But if you do not remember this situation, it's actually a little bit more complex than you would think. Because Sweet Baby Inc., when people discovered who they are and what they do, and, well, no one liked it. People boycotted the games that they made and the studios that they support. And Sweet Baby Inc. got a lot of backlash because of it, and as this post says, they did overhaul their their website and no longer show these things. They only now show a very few select. So, if Rockstar would have been in fact working with Sweet Baby Inc., we would not know it because Sweet Baby Inc. would not show it themselves. Or maybe there's a contract that they only after release show it that they worked with it. There's many options. AKA, a lot of companies at this point actually keep working with Sweet Baby Inc., but they try to hide it. They take their services, they ruin their games, and they try to hide it. They do not show in the credits that they worked with Sweet Baby Inc. or anything like that. This has been overall very common at this point, and there's in fact a lot of it. So this makes the situation a bit worse, because this is fake. This is also fake, but this is currently the Sweet Baby Inc. website, by the way, if you see it. And it only has two options, contact and Frenching or English. And then you have this. They show the games that they have worked on, you know, Spider-Man, which failed, Alan Wake 2, which failed, South of Midnight, which literally the studio got shut down. And it's actually funny because you can see what they helped on. And the more Sweet Baby Inc. has been involved in the game, the more chance that the studio has been shut down, which is hilarious. And these things, God of War Ragnarok, and, you know, a bunch of other things. Even somehow the Crew Motorfest, which is strange. They proofread it and added writing, and pretty much all of they do is infect writing. We already know this, which is kind of funny because they literally say in the work that they do themselves that they actually do narrative writing, change writing, and, you know, consult on writing, and yet they will never admit that they actually create you know, lines of dialogue that are said in the game, which is completely false because we know that people who have worked on Sweet Baby Inc., literally in the company, have actually previously worked on other games. I think God of War Ragnarok actually had a guy who worked at Sweet Baby Inc. They hired Sweet Baby Inc. and he worked for God of War Ragnarok as a writer and in Sweet Baby Inc. at the same time. And he was credited God of War, which is hilarious and does explain a lot of things why Kratos is suddenly pretty much gay while somehow having a wife. It does check out. And the interesting thing about this is obviously the fact that they are only showing things that they are effectively allowed to show. Because this thing, a lot of people, after the initial backlash against Sweet Baby Inc., asked that they get removed from the client list. And Sweet Baby obviously agreed. I don't remember what this is, but I remember that I think these guys asked for it to be removed. A lot of places asked for it to be removed. So that is kind of honestly wild. So that is the situation. There is no official proof that technically GTA 6 is being consulted by Sweet Baby Inc. But if it's happening, we would not know about it. There's a chance that this is all happening behind closed doors, and we will never know about it if it's true. And considering we know a lot of things that the CEO of Take-Two Interactive, Strauss Zelnick, has said, for example, let's not be too harsh on this group of people. Let's take it easy and not go too deep on this. Considering he has said things like that, we also have, you know, the fact that Lucille's a single mother who was in prison, and Jason is a good cuck dad, and he waited patiently for her to return from prison, and, you know, high and dry, boys, what can I say? I literally see in the future the GTA 6 drops, and at one point Lucille gets a call from prison. It's like, hey girl, I'm being let out, and Lucille's like, oh, my prison wife is being let out, and Jason's like, oh, I don't know what to say or feel about this. Okay, and she completely cucks. Like, the idea that GTA 6 is gonna be a girl boss story is kind of growing and growing, honestly, with every single day. We also still have absolutely no gameplay, which is honestly pretty tragic. We have this, which is CGI, not actual in-game cutscenes or anything like this. We almost have no in-game stuff. This, was this AI? I think this was AI, by the way. This is real. This could have been AI. I don't remember if this was a real plot of anything. But yeah, people want GTA 6 to fail at this point. GTA 6 must fail for the sake of the industry. True, but GTA 6 will not fail. It's gonna be a success no matter the circumstances, no matter the what. They could literally come out and say that Lucille is trans and Jason's blah blah blah, and it would still sell a lot. Now granted, that would damage them tremendously, but they would still sell enough to be successful. And again, even previously, people understood that it's really sus that we're not getting any gameplay, because look at this. People have been analyzing the GTA 6 trailers for a while, and I mean, needless to say, none of this is real gameplay. For example, look here, the bubbles. Yeah, there's literal bubbles, carbonation, happening in the fucking beverage. Yeah, there is no world where this actually is a legit game feature and it's actually happening. Especially considering we have a lot of talks, a lot of seemingly reliable sources giving us breakdowns that the developers at Rockstar are currently, doing 12 fucking hour shifts 7 days a week to make the game and finish it. Here we have, again, I think this was AI. I'm like 99% sure this is AI. I could be wrong, but I will say that this is AI. Because, for example, this was trailer 2023, the first trailer in 2023. And as you can see, like, it doesn't look bad, but there's no wind physics. Vice City and San Andreas had fucking wind physics. Granted, they were kind of goofy, but it had wind physics. Lucille doesn't have any wind physics, okay? The head is just staying like that. And again, I think this is AI. So, yeah, we do have a lot of things like this. The carbonation, a lot of talk. People are interested, and people don't really know what to feel. Again, it would be interesting if Sweet Baby Inc. was actually a part of GTA 6. People are talking about it, even a lot of people are commenting in my comments that GTA 6 is Sweet Baby Inc. infested. So this is why I looked into this. Again, this is fake. But the fact that they are hiding their clientele and Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't appear, in fact, in a lot of game credits, is kind of sus. So, if Sweet Baby Inc. has worked on GTA 6, we may actually legitimately never know at this point. In any case, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Have a nice day. Bye.
wrestlers, two guys that wouldn't be the world champion of anything, right? They come out there, they're like, 20 years ago in the Indies. Like, shut the fuck up. If it didn't happen in WWE, why the fuck do I care?
Marvel's Wolverine is dead on arrival. This is the 4th day in a row. People are just non-stop shitting on everything Marvel Wolverine related and everything the game has to offer. Seriously, this is kind of unseen before. Usually this happens for a day or two, but it's the 4th day and people are not stopping. This is easily gonna be one of the biggest disasters ever. And you know what? Insomniac deserves it, okay? Keep hiring Sweet Baby Inc. Keep destroying franchises. Keep destroying characters. And for the sake of the modern audiences and virtue signaling. And let's see. Let's see how that ends. The situation is absolutely beautiful and out of control. Insomniac's community director, James Stevenson, has spoken about the huge amount of negativity surrounding Marvel's Wolverine on X. He says the constant criticism and attacks, well, maybe you should have made a game instead of a virtue-woke statement, have become an onslaught on developers' mental health. Fair? Absolutely fair. Maybe try to make a game instead of a political pandering attempt. And then this won't happen. This is a purely self-inflicted wound. No one asked you to do this. No one wanted you to do this. So now you don't really have a right to complain that this is happening. This is everything you strived for, everything you wanted, everything you attempted. And now you're unhappy with that? Well, maybe you should have thought twice before you actually did this. Stevenson is even considering telling Insomniac employees to stay away from X because of it. Fans are complaining it to PS2 game. Fans are comparing it to PS2 games and calling it a movie game designed for journalists. Yes, that's actually a pretty good summary with everything that's happening. And by the way, how absolutely insane the situation is. Well, I have actually covered already 2 days of people making fun of it. Yesterday, this video right there did not have 15 million views. It didn't have even 10 million views. It is insane how absolutely viral this has honestly gone. And it's understandable why. If you haven't seen this, check this out. This is the gameplay. This is a person just holding move forward. And there are a lot of people saying, oh, this is just the opening of the game. This is intended for low IQ idiots. This is what it is. Because nothing's actually happening. None of the things around you matter. This is literally just designed for 60 IQ individuals being like, whoa, so much stuff. None of it matters. This is like seeing an ocean, but it turns out it's a puddle situation. And we are smart enough to understand this. If something like this happens, and the only option is to go ahead because nothing else is interactable, nothing else matters, this instantaneously just offends me. And this offends a lot of people also. It's okay if you have a section where all you can do is just run ahead. That's normal for gaming. But when you do it like this is just an insult to intelligence. And a lot of people obviously do understand this. Some people are pretty stupid in being like, well, what do you expect pressing 15 buttons? Yes, I actually maybe do expect that. What's wrong with that? Nothing. Okay? If someone wants this section to be, by the way, pressing 15 buttons, that's equally fine. I wouldn't personally advocate for it. But if you feel that you want sections like this and press 15 buttons, that's fine. You can demand that if you want. This thing that we already talked about has 5 million views. Jesus Christ. And it's the giant Sentinel fight. And this I mean, this looks fucking horrible. This is literally Ben 10 levels of game design 20 years ago. It is not good. This is pathetic. Yeah, and I mean, everyone can see this. This is boring, dull, pathetic, and insulting. And the best part about this is the fact that people are comparing the new one, this one, with the old one. Look at this. This is the old one. You see that? You're not fucking fighting the Sentinel's arm, okay? The Sentinel actually does things and stuff is happening. Look at this. This is an actual boss battle. Now, granted, it's obviously not the greatest or whatever, but this game is 10 plus years old. 15, I think, or something like that. It's really old. Again, I played this, and I don't even remember its name. That's how old it is. And yet, the boss battle, look at this! Look at this! I did not get this far, by the way. I did not finish the game. I was a kid. Okay? Look at this. This is 15 years ago, and it has so much more quality, love, and depth put in it than what we see here. Like, this is pathetic. And people are mocking this. Rightfully so, by the way. We're talking about the games that's budget is going to be 350 million. I know this says 305 million, but considering Spider-Man 3 was 350 million, I mean, you know, this the Marvel's Wolverine is not going to be cheaper than that, okay? Trust me on that one. Obviously, there's still the yellow paint situation. Look at this.
Don't want to talk.
Look at this. The yellow paint is in front of your target. The yellow paint, I will repeat myself. The yellow paint is in front of your target. Oh, man. Also, these like, this is just, like, why even have that? Yeah, this is just ass. This is ass, and everyone knows. People don't like it. It's bad. It's absolutely bad. And then we have stuff like this. Where people try to defend it. I'm not gonna be showing the commie, the potato, a synthetic potato post about, oh, this artificial hate. Their page shills, and everyone knows this. This is the gameplay that they showed previously. Now, I said already, and I'll say this again, I think this is all fake. This is not real gameplay. This is just in-engine cutscenes. This is what it is. Look.
Everyone shoot!
This kind of looks decent. I mean, playing it is all obviously going to be different, but it's still going to be a little bit... So all of this is fake. Like, you're going to probably have some of these options in the game to do them, but all of this, what is shown here, is fake. Like, the specific locations chosen for stuff to happen here are very deliberate. And you probably will be able to do this in this exact location, but it's never going to happen in your playthrough. You're gonna have to force these situations, interactions to happen. This is not gonna be something that actually happens in the game most of the time. I didn't want to show you this, but then I decided, you know what, I fucking saw it, so yeah, I'm not the only one. I'm not gonna be the only one who has nightmares. I mean, honestly, blame Hirohei at this point, not me. He's the one ruining our lives. You know what gamers would love if we make Wolverine do the Erika Ishii face? We could... He should do the Predator face. That's a good one. We could even make it into a quick time event. Man, if gamers didn't like Insomniac's Wolverine gameplay, they just don't actually like video games. True, based, and absolutely real. If you are a game fan, you must love this game because... it's a game, and that's deep and shit. Horrible. It is what it is, boys. It is what it is. Anyway, here's also Mystique. Mystique is getting quite a bit of love, as you can clearly tell. Here's a different side. I'm actually surprised that this one actually looks better, but, you know, not honestly a lot. Here's also Mystique doing blackface, and this post is very unique, because this is from a certified Vogue Twitter account that posts Vogue stuff, and only hits the Vogue crowd. So this is 7 million views of literally, by the way, mainly Vogue people. So the comments on this one are full of, whoa, actually wood looks so good. Yeah, look at this, smash wood. My god, look at this, yeah. So, look. So, Mystique is blackfacing a man, Lamau, and the man somehow honestly looks more feminine than Mystique. Somehow, the man looks more feminine than Mystique. We're literally doing laps at this point when it comes to Vogue BS3. Here's everyone's favorite classic moment when Sabretooth caresses Wolverine's cheek with all the love that he has, and Wolverine responds by trying to grab his hand and kissing the knuckles. I mean, the sexual tension between these two is palpable. I mean, it was, it happens. But yeah, people are looking at this, and yeah, this is unironically more gay than anything that they could ever intentionally do. This is...
You won't. You just give a shit when it suits you.
No, actually.
You don't even want to be here.
So you can hear it.
You're right.
You don't want to be here with me. I thought we're back, bro. Again. This would have probably been more straight if they. You know what? Fuck it. It doesn't even matter at this point. I mean, this is not satire. This is real. We are so cooked, boys. Then we have this. I laughed about this like a month ago. Someone pointed it out, and it's the fact that this is the fucking Spider-Man jump. Insomniac is reusing the Spider-Man jump for Wolverine, which is extremely cheap, obviously. Even something like this, a moment that actually...
We don't need you, Runt. Never did.
Like, this is a Wolverine moment, okay? This is actually reasonable Logan, but again, it kind of comes off as... It is what it is, right? It just is what it is. Even moments like this that technically are alright are kind of just seem bad somehow. Again, it just seems like the people making this watched a bunch of TikToks probably about new Wolverine stuff where he's figuring out his pansexual past or whatever, and you know that's how they're trying to make a game. It's just like none of this feels human. And this, by the way, has 14.5 million views. Like, Jesus Christ, this thing is breaking Contagion pretty hard. And again, this is a comparison between the new stuff and the old stuff. And I mean, again, this is it. 17 years old game. Yeah, I mean, this 17-year-old game has it's just unironically better. They literally should have just remade that 17-year-old game and called it a fucking day, because this is just slop. Like, a modern game, probably literally 10 times the budget. And it can't even compare to something done 17 years ago. It is absolutely crazy. So, needless to say, yeah, everyone's making fun of it. The fucking Subway Surfers game. Jeez. Yeah, it is honestly kind of disappointing. As you may know or may not know, I absolutely love the X-Men. They're my favorite superhero team, even though they don't fucking make sense as a part of the Marvel's universe. They only make sense alone, but still, they are by far my favorite team. Or, you know, just universe part, I guess you could call it, by a landslide. I really, really love the X-Men. I have watched 97, you know, the old stuff. I have read a bunch of their comics even, and I really like them. But, I mean, shit like this happens and it's just kind of sad, honestly. It's bad. It looks bad, and there's absolutely no shot in my mind that this is gonna ever work out. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Like the video right now. Takes less than a second and greatly helps me out. And thank you for everyone who does it. Like the video right now. And have a nice day. Bye. I have very high hopes for Blood of Dawn Walker, with the Witcher series and Cyberpunk becoming slop, with CDPR embracing full-blown California-style wokeness and going broke in the future because of their choices. We will need something to replace it, and that is Blood of Dawn Walker, and it looks good. We have seen gameplay, abilities, story elements. There is so much here, and there is so much potential, and it looks good. We are not talking about Starfield 0.32 milliseconds of gameplay, and then it cuts to something else. We're talking about literally 20 minutes of gameplay already available and visible to us in multiple instances, by the way, not just one 20-minute segment. And now we're getting even more. I am very excited, and I hope that you are also. And if you don't know what Blood of Dawn Walker is, well, this is it.
The Blood of Dawnwalker is a dark fantasy open-world action RPG set in 14th century Europe. The first installment of our saga takes place in Vale Sangora, a secluded region somewhere in the Carpathian Mountains. When the plague decimated the population and the human rulers proved too weak to control the situation, a powerful vampire, Brensis, stepped out of the shadows and conquered the valley. Now, it's time for you to be a part of this story. Welcome to the world of Dawnwalker.
By the way, the reason this is a valley is just to give you an excuse why you're actually surrounded by mountains or impassable water. I know, it's at least something.
Brensis is an oppressive ruler. He uses his own blood to heal the people of Vale Sangora, but in turn demands absolute obedience. He carved the valley into 3 separate dominions and gave them to his 3 vampiric officers. Ambrose is the youngest and the one with most to prove. His main responsibility is stockpiling blood and managing the draining dungeons. Bakir knows that...
Yeah, it's gonna be a relatively dark game, by the way. This is not gonna be sunshine and rainbows. And you're gonna still have romance options, arguably, which is gonna be good because it's vampire options.
what folk need in their lives is a bit of respite from their hardships. That is why he is in charge of alcohol distilling and distribution. Still, he's not above using his inborn brutality to subjugate the population if need be. Xanthi is the one who creates the Blood Guards.
Not this one, not this one. That's not the love interest, okay? That's a boss.
The elite soldiers of the vampiric regime. Staying away from the limelight, she is a source of many rumors about dark rituals and mysterious disappearances. These powerful vampires won't sit idly while you dismantle their operations. With your every victory, Brensis' court will react with new edicts that will make Cohen's life a bit harder. But who is our protagonist exactly?
This is a complete overview of every mechanic. So this is a mechanic where if there's going to be regions, and you can mess around with every region. And the more you mess around in a certain region, the more hostile to you it becomes. You know, it's like a wanted system, only permanent and constant. Now, you can choose to not do anything, and you can be relatively free. And this goes from literally, you can walk anywhere and it's chill during the day or night, and it goes to the level of, hey, shoot on sight no matter the daytime or whatever, we're gonna get rid of you. So this is gonna be pretty interesting. There's bounty systems and, there's people hunting you. So it is gonna be, it's a pretty neat system.
Make Cohen's life a bit harder. But who is our protagonist exactly? You play as Cohen, a young man living under the vampiric regime. A series of tragic events.
That's not how you use sight, but that's okay.
Led to your family being kidnapped by Brensis and you becoming a Dawnwalker, a human by day, a vampire by night. Now, you must rescue your loved ones. As a human, you can learn the dark secrets of witchcraft. This will hurt. Use your own blood to cast hexes that enable you to speak.
Yes, there's going to be 3 different ways of approaching the game, how you want to play. You're going to have a mix most of the time. Well, always, pretty much. I don't know if you can actually just go and do one constantly. I'm not sure if that's going to be an option for combat. But there's 3 main things. A human, sword and board, classic stuff. Vampire, claws and things. And then it's going to be magic like this. It's going to be quite limited what you can do with the magic, but it's going to be pretty thematical.
With the dead.
I can't! For God's sake, I can't!
Move faster, brave the astral plane, and bring pain to your enemies. Learning new spells requires finding knowledge in arcane texts and obscure tomes. At night, you transform into a vampire. You use claws and fangs to kill your opponents. You can climb walls or cross distances within a blink of an eye. You might even transform yourself into a swift wolf.
Go on. Drink.
Remember that a vampire is always hungry for blood. Drinking it unlocks new abilities, but in the process, you will corrupt yourself. Whether you stick only to one...
This is also a relatively high level gameplay because your items determine how much... Yeah, this is level 25, it looks like. No, wait. I'm not sure. Was this level? Whatever. I think it's level 25. In any case, this is pretty much... this is higher end game stuff, it looks like, because initially you did not deal 1000 damage or 400 damage. So, yeah, this is not the early game they are showing right here.
Whether you stick only to one path or mix them, exploring Vale Sangora is always exciting and will reward you with unique items.
Yeah, these are items. Look at this. Weapon critical hit damage, maximum health restoration, activation charge restoration from actions, maximum vampire health, so, you know, obviously as a vampire you're a little bit tougher and whatnot. A lot of this does feel a little bit generic. It feels a little bit Assassin's Creed shadowy, honestly, but we have not really seen if there's like set bonuses or things that change stuff. But in any case, as long as there's enough different stuff to equip, and, you know, some of them have maybe unique modifiers, it's going to be fun, okay? I would personally obviously want a more in-depth system. The closer we are to Dragon Age the Veilguard or anything like that, the worse I think it is. But if it's a good game, a system like this is not necessarily bad. And I just kind of wish this part of the game would be a little bit more interesting. You can also see a separate thing for damages. Claw crit, hit chance, claw damage, weapon crit, weapon damage, stamina, armor, vampiric health, and whatnot. So, you know, you have stats for everything. And there's enough stats, enough variety to make even basic stuff like this good. But I wish that maybe over patches they will make it a little bit more, you know, unique and nuanced. But stuff that impacts how you do things. That would be the dream. But currently this is the system, and honestly, probably not even that bad.
We teleport here, we click on the
Weapons and
skeleton,
sets
we
of
click on the
armor.
corpse, we click
Just
on the
remember
armor
that
stand,
time waits for no
we
one.
click on the stash, we click on the armor.
From the moment your
click on the
family is
chest.
kidnapped, you have
We
30
then run
days and
over
30 nights to
here,
rescue them.
all the way
The coronation.
to this little spot right here.
It's in 30
and we
days.
click right there.
Still, there is
And
no
just like
real
that,
time clock. Instead,
every
you will
single
be able to
time,
use the
you're gonna
time as a
burn.
resource, to be spent on the game
me do that
elements
again,
you
for
want to
those of you
use
who
to
don't
craft
believe.
your story.
So then I can show it to you once, or thrice.
The time
Yes,
47 times, or
progressing
technically 48
quests,
now
doing
that I've,
activities,
I
and
got
even
that one, 'cause
leveling
that one
up is
brings me
going
up
to
to 48
take
total.
time
And all you
as
have
a
to do
resource.
is follow
And the
this
moment you
particular
spend
procedure.
enough of that
Now,
resource,
you might
the
be
day
asking, how the
passes
hell does
by,
this work?
and every
How the
day
hell can
there's
you
new
guarantee
events, maybe
that a
new
burn will
locations
drop
and
from
stuff
a
like that
chest
that
every
happens.
single time?
So there is
Surely
there is
you're
a absolute
hacking,
unbelievable amount
there's
of
duping
replayability just from
involved,
that
you're
fact.
using
That
hero
honestly,
editor,
passes when you finish a
whatever
quest
other
or an
number of
activity
things
or
that
when
you
you
could
learn
potentially
new
come up with.
abilities.
And the answer to that
However,
question is
don't
no.
worry that upgrading your hero will ruin
Basically,
your
what it
chances
comes
for a
down to,
satisfying
and you
ending.
can clearly see that I didn't get
As
hurt
time
this
passes,
time,
different
is it comes down
opportunities
to
will
a
arise or
very
disappear forever.
set
I'm sorry, but too late to
circumstances
save her.
that leads
wow,
to
that looked like something I knew.
And even if you're not able to
burger.
save your family in
almost
time,
like
the
the
game will
combination
not be
to
over.
safe.
Cohen's story will
a
simply take a different turn.
key a lot.
You have
If you
one
don't do
clear
it
goal,
exactly
but
correct,
there's
which
no
is what you
single
just saw,
linear
like,
way
if
to
you do
complete it.
exactly correct, you don't
Every
get the burger.
activity and quest
Even
is
just a
optional
slight
and
deviation
serves as a
from
building
the
block of your
results
own.
My
leads to
predictions
you
is
not
if you
getting what
fail
you
to
want.
save your
Now, in this
family, you're
particular
gonna
case,
end
I already
some
have
of
the
your family
prescribed
gets
method.
turned into a
I just
full
need to make sure
vampire
that I
and
follow it
joins the
correctly.
bad guys.
And that
and-
particular time I
yeah,
didn't
that's how
follow
it's
it correctly.
supposed to be.
But
Also,
the first time I
story
did,
can be done in
and the third time
very
I did.
unlinear ways.
And I can do this
Because
all day.
technically you can
You might be asking,
go and save
how the
your
hell does this
family
work?
day one.
Can
now,
I
is it going to
replicate
be
this?
extremely hard
Does
to
it
do
work
so?
online?
Yes,
Does it work
but you do have
offline?
the option,
And
which
if
is
you follow
very
along,
nice.
I'll explain
Now,
everything
granted,
for you
obviously
today
some
in the
people are
video,
gonna
at least
find
as
ways
much as
to
I
do it,
understand.
but
And
most won't.
we'll get
But the fact
a
that you
better
can just
understanding
do
of
it
why
like
the
that
burger drops.
is pretty big and cool.
Crafted experience. The valley
what you
is a
can
big
do
place,
with your
open
burger
for
and how you could
exploration.
replicate these results
You can
if
look
you
for
want to.
opportunities to learn
All
new
of the
things
above,
and find
get one more
allies.
burger in here.
Or
Really
you can
hammer
even
home.
decide to storm Brensis's
And,
castle
and
as
then
soon
we'll
as
go
you are
over
out of the
details
prologue.
together.
However, remember that defeating
Why you
him
gotta
as a
punch me in the
freshly
face
made
like that, you little
Dawnwalker
jerk?
will be a
As
feat
you can
worthy
see, I literally
of
just got 3
legends.
bourbons in less than a minute.
We designed the Blood of Dawnwalker to be
there's
fun and adaptive
one
to
more to the
individual
pile.
preferences.
There's 2 more to
First
the
of all,
pile.
you can use
And
Omni
there
Block
is
and
3 more to
Omni
the pile.
Attack.
We now have 50
Your
bourbons.
character chooses the
Total.
directions
These
of
are not
sword
Duke
swings and
bourbons.
blocks
These are
automatically.
actually not
The only
modded.
exception to
They are
this are
not
unblockable
edited
attacks,
in. They are
ones
actual
that can be
legitimate
only
bourbons that are
dodged.
being dropped from a
For
chest.
those who prefer a more
And
tactical
how are
approach,
we doing?
we offer directional combat, which involves
Well, to
observing
understand
your
how we're
opponent's
doing this, you
movements
have to
and
understand
reacting to
that
them.
the
It's
game
about finding
doesn't
a certain
really
rhythm
have
and using
true
it to defeat enemies.
Yeah, so
It's more or less
so
a
it's effectively
combination
like
of
it's game
events that leads to a
journal mode,
result.
which is an
And
embarrassment.
it is a 2.
Even if
all
you
of the
wanted to,
above,
I'm kidding,
and then
I'm
we'll
kidding. If you
taste
want
like
to
that, you
play
little
it, play
turd.
it. If anyone says
as
you
you can
can't
see,
play it like that, just ignore them, okay? Now, I do believe that games are the most fun being played on the intended medium difficulty minimum. I personally like playing them on the hardest difficulty always. Even if it's a hard game, I enjoy the struggle of losing, dying, and then repeating because I have gained more knowledge how to beat the situation. But if you want to play on the easiest difficulty, no shame in that. Absolutely no shame.
Whichever style you choose, active abilities are an integral part of combat. With them, you can deal more damage, heal yourself mid-combat,
Yo, I don't think we have seen this before.
crowd control your enemies, or simply interrupt their attacks. All this is just a taste of what the Blood of Dawnwalker has to offer. Whether you roam through lush forests,
Look at this, by the way. Look at this. This looks like a real forest, not like the fucking Witcher garbage. Dude, one of the things that ticks me off about The Witcher, which are generally good games, obviously, still, but it's just like, this actually does seem like a real forest. Unlike, most games fail to make forests real, or feel real.
a bustling city, treacherous swamps, caverns hiding long-forgotten mysteries, or mountain peaks, there is always something to discover. Carve your own path and shape your own story, while walking the thin line between your humanity and embracing your vampiric nature. The Blood of Dawnwalker is coming.
Short and kind of sweet. Wow, they were not lying about everything you need to know, huh? Again, I am excited. We have talked about Blood of Dawnwalker multiple times. September 3rd. That is days away. Yes, I smart. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be great. Now, Spill, I'm not pre-ordering this, but I'm not pre-ordering it because I don't pre-order anything. But this is definitely something I will 100% buy and play. Maybe not day one, maybe not even day two. But yeah, this is one of the things that I personally will most likely enjoy immensely. And hopefully it's good. Hopefully it lives up to the expectations. I mean, they have been very open with how the things are looking and whatnot. And, the gameplay, everything, we have seen it. We know what to expect. So this will be good. This will be good. In any case, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
a raw meat diet.
All right, friends, we're going to do a little, I guess, reaction to this short part from one of Godis's videos to show you how education educates you to be stupid. All right? These are educated so-called doctors. They've been educated to be stupid.
And I'm going to tell you right now, runs the risk of so many bad things, whether it's salmonella amongst others. And, you know, again, to each their own.
For pregnant women, obviously toxoplasmosis we're very concerned about for raw meat, and that can cause birth defects.
Yeah, raw meat doesn't cause birth defects. Cooked meat does. But whatever.
The women who've been pregnant on this diet, when they give birth, only have 2 contractions and the baby's out.
This is a dangerous diet.
Yeah, they have 2 contractions and the baby's out. Why? Because they're not all fucked up eating the peasant slave food diet.
For your average person.
How do you know that?
Because in the ER, I have taken care of people who have actually almost died from eating raw chicken.
They've almost died eating raw chicken. People almost died eating raw chicken in the ER. He treated people. Nobody eats raw chicken. Nobody eats raw meat out there. And if you meet them, they're not in the ER, that's for sure.
My question is, how have you seen that's eaten raw chicken? I think that's a myth. I don't believe you.
My question... Exactly. I don't believe him either. It's a myth. He's full of shit.
I've done it. 25,000 people do it.
A lot of kids, especially, are prone to food poisoning and you know, E. coli especially.
Yeah, who taught you that, school?
From unpasteurized juice and milk, and that would...
Oh, yeah, sure, okay.
That is a myth. When I did my laboratory...
Pasteurization was a breakthrough, a health breakthrough.
That it's not a myth.
How do you feel that cooking hurts the food?
If you will let me contest...
Cooking hurts the food. It destroys the food. That's what it does, cooking. I like how this guy said, "Hurt." What do you think about, how does it hurt, or what do you think about that cooking, hurting the food? It'll hurt you for sure if you're eating cooked food. That's definitely going to hurt you.
Asked you, laboratory-wise, how much have you done on observing people who've eaten raw meat? How much laboratory...
We already know about cooked meat, man. We've even seen the Pottinger study. That's been done in the 30s. So, yeah, it's nothing new. We know what happens when you eat cooked meat.
Work have you done?
I'm actually agreeing. I think raw food, raw vegetables, raw fruit, and you know, is great.
He thinks raw vegetables and raw fruit are great, raw foods, but he didn't say anything about raw meat. Okay, or raw sushi. Listen, all over the world, people eat raw sushi. They eat gazpacho. They eat I don't know, tartare. They eat sushi, sashimi, whatever. I don't know what these people are talking about. In many countries still eat raw meat, they eat raw animal products, and they drink raw milk and everything, and they're not dying. If anything, they're thriving. They're the longest lived countries, the ones where they're still eating meat. They're the longest lived.
But there's a huge
not enough
for meat,
protein in
and there's for some of the meats and for milk, there's risk for infections that you really got to be concerned about.
Risk for infections? If you cut your skin, you're at risk for an infection. If you cut your skin, right, and you expose it to something bad, I don't know, could get an infection. But if you have a strong enough immune system, you don't need to worry about infections, man. You can beat an infection.
The problem is that you've been taught the bacteria theory, which is a complete...
Bacteria is not a theory, I'm sorry.
Yes, well, bacteria is not a theory. There's bacteria in all of this.
It is a theory. It is a theory.
Here, these is a problem. When you pasteurize or cook something and the bacteria feeds on it, then you have a toxic byproduct. That's why 2 years ago at Davis University in Northern California, they took raw milk and they spiked it with 5 different bacteria that are accused of growing in raw milk. Since the lactic acid is raw, the bacteria could not grow. It could not flourish. However, when they spiked pasteurized milk, it grew in an instant. And that was dangerous. So raw milk, raw meat or not, when you cook them and then the bacteria feeds on it, there are toxic byproducts. Otherwise, they help you.
So the takeaway here is, again, you know, this is a diet that you've used that has contributed, in your opinion, greatly to your health.
I would agree with him. He's right.
And I think that is wonderful. That's the whole...
These doctors are so ignorant. How could this guy, who's not a doctor, be smarter than these doctors because they're educated to be stupid?
Point of the show, shocking health trends. Again, I think it's wonderful that you eat this. No thanks, not for me. I'll take my chicken.
Of course not. It's not for him because he's a domesticated animal. Okay, he wants to destroy his lineage down the line epigenetically. Okay, fine. Yeah, that's great.
Cooked. Thank you.
Have you ever been to a French restaurant?
I have.
Tartare, raw meat with raw egg.
Right, and absolutely, there are certain meats and fish, sushi, that if prepared correctly, in the right way,
all of a sudden they love raw meat. They love this and that. Yeah, whatever, man. These doctors are insane. Oh, if it's prepared the right way, yeah, they're prepared the right way. Okay. Dude, I eat meat right out of the package in the store. I just fucking open it. I don't wash it. I don't do anything to it. I just fucking open it and eat it. I've never had a problem. What the fuck? I even open up sushi. It's in the plastic. They've already cut it. I open it, I cut it, I eat it raw. I don't wash it. I don't do anything to it.
are lower in risk for bacteria and all these other bad things, but...
What do you mean risk at bacteria? Bacteria eats bad things. It can eat, I don't know how much of its weight, but it can eat a lot. So bacteria, they get rid of dead cells, they eat dead cells, they feed on stuff. That's what they do. That's their job, to eat stuff, bad things.
Again, if you're at home, don't go to the grocery store and pick up a few chicken breasts and eat them raw.
Why not?
Because you do risk very serious illness.
Joel Weinstein.
Never happened to me, man. I don't know what these guys are talking about. Just goes to show you how stupid people are out there. Educated to be stupid, and then they try to educate you. Get it? They're going to educate you to be stupid too, along with them. And that's what's going to happen to all of you out there. I'll see you in the next one. Tell you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. I'm out. Borowski. All right, friends, it's T-Man. I'm back with a brand new video to react to Jason Blaha again, as usual, man. The gym, lifting, recruiting, fitness gear slave himself. So, in this video, Jason Blaha says, heavy lifts benefit high rep work done afterward. Yeah, okay, some heavy lifts, and you do a bunch of high rep work after it, all right. Did you see that partial concentric squat?
Really heavy work before your pump work completely changes the training response of the pump work. Hey,
training response, it completely changes the training response. I'm bored. I don't know what to do with myself. So now I have to do this and do that and do that, do this, because there's nothing else to do here. There's nothing. There's nothing here. Nada.
Everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Thought I would chat with you guys about
Jason Blaha.
this today. But a quick reminder, if you guys will please click a like and drop me a comment down below. I'd appreciate it. And a lot of times, a lot of this has been rebranded power building, and I do like that term, and I use it a lot. But realistically, this is pretty akin to just really old school bodybuilding. Right, going back to the Arnold and older era, a lot of those guys did really heavy work. Right, like 1 to 5 reps, like weights that are no.
They did, the old school drug addicts did they? Okay.
Lighter than a 5 rep max.
Yeah.
And then they would do all their bodybuilding pump work. I mean,
they could have done anything, man, and everything would have worked because it's cosmetic. They took drugs, man, okay? Here's the question. If you want to look like that, take drugs. I've mentioned this many times. If you want to look like creatine people, take creatine. If you want to look like drug people, take drugs. Now, if you want to look like a natural person, then do what natural people do, how it's done naturally. But if you try to do what a drug addict did, because it never worked for him naturally, so he took drugs, then what makes him think that what he was doing didn't work for him? It's going to work taking drugs. Get it, man?
Ronnie Coleman trained that way. So all the way into even those later eras, this was still a common, but older.
Ronnie Coleman was an idiot. He lifted really heavy weight, thinking heavy weights build muscles. They don't hypertrophy muscles. Heavy weight doesn't hypertrophy muscles. What hypertrophy, the driver of hypertrophy is protein. When protein synthesis outpaces protein breakdown, that's what hypertrophies muscles. The trigger is to lift a weight, is the tension, the mechanical tension, right? You lift, listen, man, you lift weights, it causes mechanical tension, right? So the amount of tension that you lift causes microscopic tears in the muscle. So the amount of mechanical tension you create can cause minute or medium to high amounts of microscopic damages. Where? To the myofibrils in your muscle. Get it, man? So that would be an indicator for what? For more growth. It would have to, the satellite cell, when it comes out of quiescence, it would have to do what? Proliferate and differentiate. More cells are added to those myofibrils to get them to become bigger. The more cells you have, the more they can what? Blow up with proteins, get bigger with proteins. So they mass up. That's the idea. They fuse with the fibers. They start massing them up. That's the idea. That's how muscles grow. See what I mean? Without the damage, well, they're not going to leave quiescence. They're not going to start proliferating, differentiating, and fusing with the fibers to mass up, because it wouldn't happen. Without that, there's no massing up. There's nothing to mass up. The nuclei and everything, they synthesize protein. So yeah, the cells fuse with the fibers. They mass them up. That's how it works.
School way to train, and when you do this, a lot of times people.
It has nothing to do with I gotta lift the heaviest weight. It has to do with, look, man, if I lift a very heavy, here's the question. If I do 1 rep maxes, really heavy powerlifting, 1 rep max, is there any like damage to the fiber? Was there enough mechanical tension and damage to the fiber for it to be warranted to increase for the satellite cell to come out, proliferate, differentiate, and then mass up those fibers to get bigger and stronger? Is it? No, there's not enough mechanical tension. The mechanical tension happens in sets and reps. The amount of sets and reps you create. Me personally, the mechanical tension would be what? Reaching a contractile failure. I know that if I reach contractile failure, I've caused sufficient amount of damage that it's warranted. It's warranted now for my body to do what? To reinforce it, to increase it, to make it bigger and stronger. That's the whole idea. Again, it's a multi-step process. But whatever, people will never understand that.
Think of it.
And they'll tell you some crazy thing that muscle damage is irrelevant. Well then, if it's irrelevant, right, then what's the purpose behind it if it's irrelevant? Why does it happen? If it's irrelevant, why does it happen? Oh, I know, it's a byproduct. Well then, mechanical tension is a byproduct of lifting a weight then. See what I mean? You see how stupid that sounds like? Okay, hypertrophy is a byproduct of doing what? Being in positive nitrogen balance. But it's a byproduct though. So if I don't eat any protein, what's the byproduct? Here's the question. If I don't eat sufficient amount of protein, will there be any growth? No, there'll be zero growth. So see what I mean?
Powerlifting, and yes, a lot of powerlifters do kind of train that way, but it really was bodybuilding too. Now I will make the note that is how the max effort days go with Westside Barbell, right, on the conjugate method. Strongest gym in the world, built 100 world record powerlifters. Yeah, their max effort days look like that. It's like, right, you ran.
Powerlifters, they're not building anything. It's all bullshit, man. He's making shit up. Look at Blaha. He powerlifts. He lifts very heavy weight off the floor, and I don't know what else he's doing there. Some stupid squats. So why isn't Blaha massive? Why are his arms so small? Why does he look like he's suffering from sarcopenia?
Up to a true 1 rep max on a big lift on one of the upper and then on the other lower afterwards, because they usually did a 4-day training. The 2 of those days they did maxes, right? All out 1 rep maxes or up to a 3 rep max. And then,
oh, wait a second. Somebody wrote me, weights build muscles. Oh, okay. Look at Blaha. He's proof that weights build muscles. Look at his muscles. He's massive, bro. He's bigger than fucking Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman has never lifted this long in his entire life. He lifted weights in a very short run, became Mr. Olympia, and then he fucked off. Look at Blaha. 30 years later, he's still lifting. Why isn't he bigger than all of these guys? If he's lifting all the time, 30 years, bro.
They did tons of bodybuilding work afterwards and, you know, produced some amazingly strong power.
Why am I bigger than Blaha? I don't even lift. I don't even lift. See what I mean? And when I do lift, when I do put in the effort to lift, right away I get a bunch of benefits. I get benefits right away. Where's his benefits? He's lifting 30 years.
Lifters. But this is an old school way to train instead of just necessarily sets across. And it's been time proven. And unfortunately, I've seen like some influencers and coaches who's, you know, they themselves were small and weak. So I leave that alone. It says stuff like, oh, when people try to combine the best worlds of this, it doesn't work. But it does work, right? It does work. You guys have seen me produce 600-pound squatters. 700.
It does work. He produces 600-pound squatters. Yeah, if I come in every day to the gym, I'll be good at 600-pound squatting. I'll be good at squatting. I know that for a fact because I put it to the test. See what I mean? I put it to the test. It makes me better at lifting. That's why I say, you as an advanced lifter, this is not something you would do working out once a week. Once a week, being an amateur lifter. It's for advanced lifters. You get it, dude? You're already good at lifting. Has nothing to do with, oh man, it has nothing to do with you going in there thinking that you're gonna start off working out one day a week trying to get to be like an advanced lifter. No way, man. It ain't gonna work for you. See what I mean? It's gonna be very difficult for you. That's why I say, I was an advanced lifter already before I discovered what really worked. And it worked right off the bat. The very first time I did it, it worked.
Pound deadlifters, over 400-pound benchers. Myself, you know, with clients in the past, you know, using that sort of approach, and
I will tell you this: I never felt strong because I went to the gym and I practiced and I could lift heavy weight. I never felt strong. I remember like curling 100-pound dumbbells, but I thought that, you know what? Later when I think about it, that was so stupid. I wasn't big at that time, and I thought I was strong. And we were, you know, well, you're with your friends in the gym, you're all doing stupid shit. Like, look at us, we're benching 315 and all of that. We're all like gung-ho, bench 315, curl 100-pound dumbbells, do all these stupid things, man. You're just waiting to get injured. Why? Because your body is weak. You're basing your strength off of motor units, but you have a small, skinny, weak-ass motherfucking body. Blaha is small, and therefore he's weak. It doesn't matter how much he could lift off the floor. If you're bigger, you're stronger than him. You'll punch holes through his chest and rip his spine out.
Very well. But there have been studies looking at some of it, and I want to cover kind of a couple of points with this. There were some studies that looked at this, and what did they find? Well, they generally found that if a heavy single was done, right, did a really heavy single, the 10 rep sets afterward, the performance improved. Okay. There was some studies.
Their performance improved. They're going there to perform. Law is a performing slave right here. It's a lifting performing slave for everybody on YouTube.
You look at that, and that's interesting.
You're just watching a guy move weights around, up and down, up and down, up and down.
What that shows is, of course, that it improved the performance, and a lot of it has to do with attenuating the nervous system and everything. And it means we've hit all those highest threshold fast twitch fibers before we go to the pump work. So those deepest fibers have already been activated for an all-out level of recruitment. So your nervous system is fully primed. It's fully primed. And I think I would point out with a lot of this too, if you think of it very carefully and think in terms of total muscle growth, if we start looking into the...
Yeah, that's really my goal. I really want to go there to the gym because that's all I really ever wanted to do was get good at lifting weights. Yeah, so I could stay skinny and weak. So I could be used as a punching bag down the street, right, by people. Oh, I'll just tell them, I'm stronger than you because I can lift a heavy weight. And then they look at you and they laugh at you and go, yeah, sure you are, dude. They don't care. Here's the thing, in the physical world, people don't care. Size is king in this world, man. The bigger you are, the more menacing you come off as being menacing. Like when I walked with my friend from what was it? I was walking with a friend of mine, or my friend, this girl we were with, and we were at the lights crossing the street, and she goes, "What's going on, man? The women, they're like next to you, following you, man. Like, they looking to be protected or something because you're big." I go, "I don't know, man. I have no clue." She goes, "That was weird, man. They just walk like right near you, close to you, as if like, what's going on here?" She goes, "They want to be protected because you're a big guy." I go, "I don't know. These things never really, that hasn't really dawned on my, I didn't even think about that, but she brought that to my attention. I don't know. I thought that was funny."
The idea, the possibility.
But Blaha, when he's walking across the street, he repels people. They run away from him.
Of different rep ranges of different training stimulus. A lot of experts think this is not true, by the way. A lot of experts and researchers think that it is. Sure, it will kind of give you that best of what you're looking for. But by doing that heavy work, right?
Sure they do.
Doing that heavy work, we are hitting those deepest muscle fibers, right? And then
you are hitting the deep muscle fibers, the deeper, weaker muscle fibers, yeah, when you're doing them for sets and reps. But you need to do it with proper form. You cannot do a max 1 rep heavy power lift 4 reps and sets. It's impossible because you're exceeding the capacity of what you can handle. So your form is it wouldn't work out. That's why people cheat. They do these cheating rows, throw weights up and down. They do stupid stuff. That doesn't work like that, man.
The other higher rep stuff that you might do afterward is still going to reach them near the end of the sets. But then it's going to work all those more intermediate fibers, which do have some growth potential. That is the one thing I will argue, when it comes to only really heavy work.
Okay.
And I think it's problematic, and we tend to point that out, that, well, as we get more advanced as lifters, this changes when you go on drugs, by the way. But that's
again, not... it changes as all you guys go on your drugs. So finally, when you go on your drugs, it will all change for you because it doesn't work. Lifting doesn't work. Muscles, they don't build because according to Blah, gotta need drugs, yeah.
Really can't be covered in the scope of this video.
Right, as an advanced lifter, it's time to go into drugs.
But the longer you train, the less the intermediate fibers grow. We get to very quickly to where...
So the longer you train, the less the immediate fibers grow, the more you train. Well, they don't grow from training. You know what I mean? Then they don't stop growing if you're in positive nitrogen balance. They keep growing.
90+% of your muscle growth is coming from only those fastest twitch fibers. So people are like, really, on a 12 rep set to failure, only the last 4 or 5 caused any growth then?
Only the last 4 or 5 sets cause the growth then, or reps, or whatever he's talking about. Yeah, they don't cause growth, dude. Unless it's inflammation.
So why don't we just do all really heavy work? Well, because one, it beats you up. But there's something to be said for that 1 to 3 rep stuff. I mean, you're hitting all those top end fibers immediately.
He sure is. Look how big they are. His shoulders are massive. Look at those arms, man. 26 inches.
Okay, and you're getting good myofibrillar growth.
Oh, oops, I made a mistake. That was his head in the way. I thought that was his arms. You're getting good myofibrillar growth.
Good muscle density and all that stuff.
Good muscle density and all that stuff. Where's his?
But the thing that I will point out, some of the...
Yes, you pointed out, man.
Higher rep stuff is still possibly going to hit some of those intermediate fibers better than even if we do only moderate rep stuff, because they're getting hit with more total quality repetitions.
Okay.
Now, is that kind of tit for tat?
Does your body know that that's quality repetitions, quality? Could it differentiate? Does it know somehow? What is it? Does it have like a mind?
Yeah, because those muscle fibers have less growth potential. Like if only...
They have less growth potential? If a muscle gets damaged, it prompts it to rebuild it bigger and stronger. That's the idea. See what I mean? If the myofibrils get micro damages, it propels your body to build it bigger and stronger. That's how it works. That's how it works. Why? Because the satellite cell comes out to repair it. It's based on a repair mechanism. In other words, your muscles are post-mitotic. They do not split and divide from lifting weights. What happens is you have to damage muscles to get the satellite cell to come out and donate. It's a process. That's how it works.
10% of your total muscle growth can come from those muscle fibers.
The growth comes from the muscle fibers. How do they grow? How does a myofibrillar grow? Just from stress. Let's say I stressed the myofibrillar, but there was never any micro damages there. How would it grow? How would it grow? It has a myonuclear domain limit. How would it grow if it has a myonuclear domain limit? How would it grow without any of that? Without the activation of satellite cells or any micro damages, how would it grow the myofibril? How would it grow? Exactly.
Trying to get some extra work for them, man, is not giving you, a great return on your investment. But what if you're just trying?
He's getting micro damages. I can tell you that. Blood is still getting. You're still getting micro damages, but on a very low level, like very, very minute. But it's just turnover. It's just repairing. Why? Because it's adapted already to his exercises. The muscle micro damages that he gets, they're adapted to his exercises. And number two, he isn't exactly in positive nitrogen balance either. And even if he was, I would believe it doesn't work. It wouldn't work because it doesn't warrant to grow. There's nothing warranted to grow. There's not enough micro damages to the muscle to want to grow, reinforce, and grow bigger and stronger.
To get as big as possible. Well, then that does kind of make sense. But when we also think in terms of the neural drive,
yeah,
making sure that those deeper fibers get even fatigued in the very first exercise,
You're not trying to get the deeper muscle fibers fatigued. You're trying to get the deeper, weaker muscle fibers to damage so they can get bigger and stronger. It's the whole idea.
For example, let's say you do a max bench press and you follow it up like you saw there's some inclining dips.
Yeah.
Follow it up like you saw there's some inclining dips. Or for more reps. Or even some benching for more reps. Well, that's exactly what happens. You're going to hit those deep fibers. So you've got to activate all the peripheral nervous system, all that neural drive, all that coordination. So you're going to get those benefits of that heavy work.
Oh, yeah.
But we can't handle a lot of it, right?
Yeah.
Then we go over to the stuff that doesn't beat your body up as much, but may create more localized fatigue, to where we just do the higher rep stuff. But what I would suggest to people, this works really well in a power building type system, because we can't always handle a lot of squats or deadlifts or benching or really heavy overhead pressing, right? These big, heavy structural exercises, we can sure glean all the benefits from going heavy.
Sure.
And then they produce higher quality, high rep work. So in other words, let's say you do a really heavy overhead press, right? Really heavy, like 1 to 3 rep max. And then you follow it up with some lateral raises and front raises for, 10, 15 reps or whatever. You're going to get a more robust training response off that higher rep work. Based upon the data that we've seen, it may lend for a slightly superior training response from those other sets, in addition to the strength benefits that you got from it. Okay, so it's sort of training makes a lot of sense, right? And you don't need a lot of the heavy work first. I mean, even at Westside Barbell, they maxed out on 2 exercises a week. Amateur Water at max on 1 upper and 1 lower body lift a week, and then just built the hell out of everything with explosive work and then tons and tons of hypertrophy work. Right?
Right on.
Like mostly bodybuilding type work. And it worked great. They got crazy strong. So again, this sort of approach does produce the best of both worlds and does produce a very efficient training response. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.
Thank God, man. I'll see you in the next video. Ciao, man.
Good day.
For a beginner, you have never played this game before, you obviously don't have
So this is the end. Maybe there are actually more stretches, but I can't come up with any today. And I think this can keep you like your joints pretty okay. I don't think it's perfect. I don't know. Maybe I'll come up with something better. Because I don't really like to stretch unless I have to. I mean, if you want to do something like splits, right, you have to stretch pretty often. But I don't want to do that. It's not. I mean, it's not important, right? So I'll stop here for this one.
So the other day, I was at a local commercial gym with a buddy of mine. I was working out with his brother. We were training legs together. And this is a gym I hadn't gone in quite some time. But my first day back to this gym in over 6 months, I had heard something that was really the epitome of what is wrong with dating and marriage nowadays. So as I'm there training legs, my friend's brother, who's also a friend of mine, Devin, comes up to us and tells us something that he had just heard from someone in the gym about how this married couple that goes there, that looking at them from the outside you would assume are in a perfectly healthy relationship. They have 3 kids at home. The father is someone who is hardworking and successful. He's able to support the family. Turns out this married woman has been talking to a guy behind her husband's back where he has no idea that it's going on. So the reason that I found that out was because Devin had told me that someone he talked to in the gym told him, and this is a guy who was a regular at the gym, so a good dude, I know him, but told him that someone had showed him pictures of text messages from the wife, images as well, and that she was saying how she gets excited about this idea of doing something secretive behind her husband's back. Now, my friend Devin has said that he's going to tell the husband when he sees him. He goes to the gym a lot more than I do. He is a regular at this gym. He goes almost every day, so he knows kind of the familiar face and stuff there. I've never seen this person, but if I knew him, I would say something as well. Now, whether he decides to tell him with the husband there or excuse me, with the wife there or not is up to him. But when I look at stuff like this, and I think to myself, a woman who is with a perfectly good man, who's able to support a family, who's loyal, who's a loving husband and a loving father, to think that she would do something like this behind his back is terrible. But unfortunately, in today's climate, not super surprising. Now, why do I say that? Because there is this sentiment around modern women who think that they can always do better, who think that the grass is always greener, where they could be in a perfectly healthy relationship. They could have a guy that checks all the boxes, but because he's too respectful, they think that it's boring. They think that it's too safe, however you want to put it. They think that a good man is boring. So they want to get with a guy who is exciting or exhilarating, meaning they want to do something that they're not supposed to do, like a spoiled teenager. Doing something they're not supposed to be doing just for the sake of it. It is absolutely ridiculous. And this guy that she had cheated on him with was far beneath him in every department. Looks, career. And what's so sad too is I had seen this guy at the gym a while ago. And I thought he was a good dude. I thought he was a respectable guy because I remember the gym was busy. And this is part of why I don't go to commercial gyms or this gym in particular, because it just gets very busy. It's not a very large gym, but pretty much any day of the week, if you're trying to get a squat rack or a bench press, it's not going to happen unless you're willing to wait 15 minutes. But nonetheless, a while back, the gym was very busy, and he had let me work in on hamstring curls, this guy that was actively knowing that this wife was cheating and getting with her. And I thought he was a good dude, but I lost pretty much all respect for him. Now, I'll be the first in saying this. I think that the wife doing the cheating is far worse than the guy. But any man who's knowing getting with a woman that is in a relationship, totally not respectable behavior. For kind of similar context here, I want to bring something up too, because some people might look at this and think, well, this is anecdotal evidence, this is one extreme fridge example. No, it's not. No, it's not. Stuff like this is far too common. Mind you, this is an example that is now out there, that is now known. There are so many things that I see on a micro level, which I wouldn't even call it micro cheating. I'd call it cheating, deception, whatever you want to call it. Women posting things on social media that they shouldn't be posting while in a relationship, going to places they shouldn't be going while in a relationship. without their boyfriend or husband knowing. But there was a while back where someone I know, he was in a relationship, and this girl, he was always posting pictures with this girl on his social media. So really the point I'm making here is that she was his whole world. Photos with her, stories with her. And one of my friends had actually seen her on a dating app while they were in a relationship, and he had sent me a screenshot of it. And he said, "Hey, isn't this so-and-so's girlfriend?" I said, "Yeah, it is." And we looked, it was even a picture taken directly from his social media account. And I actually had told their friend, which was the right thing to do. And of course, he didn't want to lose his cool when I told him. He was composed, but soon after that, the pictures of her were removed off his social media, and he had broken up with her. But this kind of thing, this really lack of loyalty, I'll put it that way, soulless behavior has become far too common. This is exactly why most self-respecting men will be single, because they're not going to tolerate that kind of stuff. They're not going to overlook these red flags. They're not going to be caught up in worrying what everyone else thinks, because it's come to a point where I've known men who will get with a woman knowing this kind of stuff just because they want to be seen as a guy who is not single. This whole idea, and I don't see this anymore, I think this is something that's kind of faded out. If not, it's certainly fading out. The idea that being single is in some way a bad thing. What's going to be a bad thing is if you get with a woman like this, I told you the example of at the gym, and you end up getting a divorce, she ends up cheating, something happens. That's going to be the bad thing. Not having your self-respect and peace of mind and solitude. That's never going to be a bad thing. So, ultimately, when I had heard about this, I feel terrible for the husband, but I also feel very bad for the kids in this situation, because it's very likely going to lead to some form of a divorce or a split, where the kids are not going to have both parents in their life, perhaps. And it is going to be all the wife's fault, all the mother's fault. It's all on her for doing this. It is all on her ego and selfishness. She didn't marry a man, she married her ego. And you hear this talked about a lot, where people say relationships feel transactional, and I couldn't agree more. It's almost like a commodity, like gold or silver or something that you invest in. And it's where they will want something for a specific purpose, right? Like, she might have been with this man because he was the loyal husband or father figure that she could have kids with, and that he wouldn't cheat on her, that he would be supportive, that he'd be loyal. And he fits that role. But then she wants a guy at the gym who she goes and has fun with, a guy that she goes on little dinner dates here and there with, a guy on social media or dating apps. It is absolutely ridiculous. This whole thing with comparison, being spoiled with attention and validation over social media and dating apps, which, by the way, I don't think that they are the main culprit here. I think it's a lot more than that, but they're certainly a big part of it. You have women who have no idea how rich they really are to even have a man like that in their life to begin with. To even have kids with a loving, caring father. I grew up, I was in a position where I grew up with both parents in the home, and I'm very thankful for that. But I know people who grew up with a single parent, single father, single mother. Now, of course, there's no one-size-fits-all rule for this. But they had told me the difficulties it was, and the questions they had, and the lessons they had to learn through life without having perhaps a father there to teach them. This woman doing something like that is absolutely depraved behavior. Absolutely depraved. And I want to say something too. I don't want to go on too much of a tangent here. But when it comes to the gym in general, just look at the way women dress in the gym. That should tell you everything that you need to know. I'll see women who will go to the gym with spandex shorts and this and that. They'll tuck their shirt into the back of their pants and act like they're not looking for male attention. I've seen countless videos, I'm sure we've all seen this over the years, of women who will set up tripods and cameras in the gym, acting like they own the place. If a guy happens to walk across the video, when they're setting up the camera from themselves, doing cables all the way to the bench, and someone happens to walk down the aisle of the gym, they'll try to make it sound like they have no etiquette. The gym, rather, the world does not revolve around you. Understand that. The world does not revolve around you. And I've also seen countless videos of women in the gym who will be recording themselves, and then if a guy glances not at her, but even in her general direction for a split second, which, by the way, they're acting like they don't want attention in the first place. Yes, they do. They will try to expose that guy as a creep for likes and attention on social media. It is absolutely ridiculous. Now, I don't want to misquote this because I read it somewhere, and I don't remember the exact number here, but it was some form of data, rather, about how a lot of men are canceling their gym memberships. And additionally, why I don't go to commercial gyms is certainly because of the behavior of modern women. But I see a lot more men getting into martial arts, going to more kind of niche gyms, powerlifting gyms that are a little bit more specified, where they don't have to be around this kind of stuff. They don't have to be around the entitlement, the behavior of modern women, what they exhibit in the gym, because they don't want to be around that. And I want to make a point with this too. Men go to the gym to build themselves. That's ultimately why you go to the gym, to work on yourself, to improve yourself physically. And we all start somewhere, right? That's why it's ridiculous to judge someone in the gym. We all start somewhere. We've all started somewhere. So you might have a guy who lifts a very impressive amount of weight on bench, but he might have started off with less than even a plate on each side, right? My point being here is, when men go to the gym, or just in general, we could even say, when men work on themselves, it is for self-improvement, right? When I see women so-called working on themselves, doing things like filters and pictures, all the makeup, lip filler, this, and body sculpting clothing, that's not self-improvement. That's not real confidence. It's not self-esteem. That is insecurity. That's what that is. That's not working on yourself. That is not building yourself. That is trying to put down other people to make yourself feel better, or put on an image of something that you're not. That's not positive. That's not self-improvement. I want to make that clear. But it's gone way too out of control. There's certainly no form of faithfulness that I see nowadays. None at all. And I also can't tell you how many times I see these so-called female fitness influencers posting certain things at certain angles and act like they're just trying to show a workout. But not to get too off topic with that. The situation with the married husband, whenever my buddy Devin decides to tell him in person, I'm curious to know how that conversation is going to go. But this kind of stuff just occurs way too much. Way too much. And before I end this video, I'm sure we all remember a time, because the gym has changed a lot in general. We remember a time where there wasn't all these tripods up everywhere. Now, of course, we still had technology, which I happened to come across some old video game systems I had, and they were still running good as new, even though they were in the 90s, which is ironic because they probably had less mileage on them than the woman of discussion in this video. But the gym was a lot different. It's changed a lot in my time over the years. I think unless we're under a certain age, we probably remember when the gym wasn't the way it is now, where even women's behavior in the gym was not as much as now. Because, of course, in general, we've seen that whole thing decay. But when I hear stuff like this, and when I see stuff like this, and as terrible as it is, I think another thing that's terrible is that I'm not surprised. I'm not. Like I said, it's become far too common of an occurrence. And just knowing modern women's behavior, it's nothing new to me. Really isn't. And I don't want to be that guy who makes the mistake of getting with a woman like that and having to learn the hard way. Now, I don't want to jump to speculation because I don't know the husband. I don't know if he overlooked red flags. I have no idea if he gave this woman second or third chances. But either way, it is wrong. It's so wrong. And to think a woman like that could have a guy who is a perfectly good man doing all the right things in life and want something else or think that she can do better. I guarantee, I think he told me, from what I heard, this woman was in her very early 30s. She's going to come to a point in life where she's going to beg for a man like that in her life. And he's going to move on to better things, which is exactly what he should do. So, as always, guys, I appreciate you for viewing the video. And when it comes to stuff like this, as I always say, just focus on your mission and purpose. Don't get derailed by stuff like this. Your peace and solitude is way more important. So, again, guys, thank you so much. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Appreciate it. So I had a conversation with someone yesterday about an article that I had come across. And it wasn't even about just men being single at higher rates than previous decades, but in particular, men who are more intelligent. I'm not sure what metric they use to measure this, so take it what you will. But men who are more intelligent are less likely to be in relationships, more likely to be single, and even less likely to seek relationships and interact with women in the first place. Now, I had made the point that people who are more observant are going to see what's going on in the current dating climate. They're going to see what their friends have gone through. They're going to see the disrespect. They're going to see the boundaries being crossed. And they're going to want to opt out. Now, this goes really for any man. Anyone with common sense, I think, is going to feel that way. Now, what he said was, the point he was making was that people who are more intelligent tend to overthink. They tend to overanalyze. And therefore, they're not going to throw the hat in the ring in fear of perfectionism or rejection or have it what you will, right? Now, my thing is this: no matter how confident someone is around women, no matter how much attention they get or do not get from women, they still need to have standards. Again, this is a lot of why you see men opting out. And seeing even more so people in current relationships, the disrespect. You can't tell me a rational person would look at that and want to put up with it or be in that position. Most of the time, relationships that I see and that other people see have someone who is disproportionately a beneficiary, and that tends to be the woman, for day in and day out, while the man is taking constant disrespect. And my point of even talking about this is not to say that this person I was talking to was wrong. This is actually a good friend of mine. It's not to say that he was wrong, because I see his point. I see what he's saying. I mean, I've known people personally who do overanalyze things, who look at things down to the minutiae detail and develop a detrimental form of perfectionism, right? And I've heard a good way of this being worded is someone being crushed by their own genius, where this person can be very talented or very skilled at something but not want to try. And I believe that when it comes to things, you never know how far you could take it if you don't try. These people could be 10 out of 10 at it, no makeup needed, by the way. But when it comes to relationships, when it comes to dating, I see things very different. I see being analytical as necessary, because you do not want to be someone who overlooks the red flags. You don't want to be someone who overlooks a woman's past, a mistake I've seen countless men make, because it is going to have potentially lifelong prolonged effects if you do those things, if you overlook those things. I'm sure we've all known someone, or maybe currently know someone, who is in a marriage or a long-term relationship and puts up with constant disrespect. And then will even go as far to lecture you about how marriage is a good thing, how relationships are important, how a man should be in a relationship. And of course, I've said this many times. I think that marriage and family and having a father and a mother there to raise a kid when it can work out is a great thing. It's an amazing thing. But speaking of perfectionism, let's look at who's really the originator, of that thing. You guys ever seen where a phone will come out, right? The latest phone, let's say it comes out in March or November, whenever it does. And within a number of weeks, there's already trending searches about the next year's model that is long ways away. And people are wondering about the specs and what it offers. What does it bring to the table that the phone I have right now doesn't? And then you find out it was never about the phone. It was about the image. And I saw a comment that worded this really well when it comes to modern women. It was me, myself, and iPhone. I couldn't agree more. But this is exactly how dating feels like. Modern women having this perfectionism, where they will be with a perfectly good man, someone who is respectful, someone who is loyal, someone who is a guy you'd want to introduce to your parents. And they always think they can do better. They're always looking for the next thing, the very next thing that's shiny and better and different. So in many ways, modern women, they don't even know what they want. So how are they going to know what a man wants in a relationship? No self-respecting man with common sense is going to put themselves in that position. And that's the point I was making with this whole intelligence thing, is it goes further than that. I don't care if you are a Einstein or not, or PhD. I don't care. If you're someone with common sense, you are going to look at this and you are going to want to play no part in it. Now, there comes a point too, when it comes to relationships and when it comes to respect and when it comes to the way people are treated, where there was a quote, a very memorable quote I remember from a movie. I heard this from the movie Nacho Libre, if you guys remember that one. It came out, I believe, in the early 2000s. Maybe it was around 05, give or take a few years. But it went something like, "Aren't you tired of getting dirt kicked in your face?" And it was the main protagonist of the movie. It was his tag team partner in the lucha wrestling that said it to him. And I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more, because when I see men getting disrespected, openly disrespected, public humiliation like I've seen in some cases among couples, I have to ask, aren't you tired of getting dirt kicked in your face? And, back when that movie came out, we still had Blockbuster and Hollywood Video. I remember seeing that movie multiple times with my father. I think we might have even seen it in theaters. And I saw a post about this where people born between 92 and 99, so myself, were really one of the first generations, or perhaps the only generation, to see this big contrast between a more analog lifestyle that wasn't so dominant with social media and what we have nowadays, where we still had a blend of technology. I'm sure a lot of us remember the SNES and the Nintendo DS and the Sega Genesis and all that. But we saw the shift nowadays, and there was a dramatic shift. Things have shifted in ways that we perhaps could not imagine. And it's not just relationships, by the way, that have changed. It is men as a whole wanting to isolate themselves, because I believe this goes further than relationships. But men wanting to...
You're taking my property.
Well, there's been a lot of comings and goings of UPS trucks in this neighborhood.
What about that?
A lot of packages coming to this house particular. Well, something's going on in there. Something's going on in there.
So it's Amazon.
I'm taking the package.
It's my Amazon wish list.
I'm taking the package.
No, you're not taking my package. That's nice stuff.
Excuse me. Ow! Oh my God! You killed me!
I did not kill you. You're fine.
Oh my God!
You sprayed me with whatever that stuff is.
isolate themselves from society. I remember when I was in my early to mid 20s, there came a point where I would stop accepting the invites that my friends gave me. I would even not reach out to them, and I thought maybe I was not being a very good friend. Maybe I was being self-centered. I was second-guessing myself. But what I really came to realize was I was developing discernment. I was developing wisdom through experience. I wasn't going out of my way to seek out women, to seek out relationships. I wanted to focus on my mission and purpose. I was in a position in life where I really, to put it up front, I was kind of lost in many ways. I hit rock bottom. But I quite frankly didn't have time for the games anymore. And I will say this, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to anything, if there is someone there who is going to derail you from your mission and purpose, you have to distance yourself from them. I don't care. And I see so many men who will get with women who are the epitome of a walking red flag. And they will let them do that. They will let them derail them from their mission and purpose, spending time with friends who they've known for years, who are good influences, derailing them from
So I was at the gym literally yesterday, right? And I was walking out of the gym and I did what anyone would do if you saw someone coming in. I went and I tried to hold the door open for this lady. Not because I was just trying to impress anybody, just because like that's what you do, right? And she gave me this really nasty look. Like I would have rather her just not said thank you, right? And that got me thinking, like, what happened to the kindness on this planet recently? Especially for men nowadays, it feels like being a good man just kind of feels extremely useless in 2026. Like, things dating aside, being kind and just trying to be a genuinely good person, I feel like is taking a complete back seat nowadays. Like, even when I started dating my lady, when I picked her up for the first date, I opened the car door for her, and she was like, no one's ever done that for me before. I was like, really? Earned me some early brownie points for sure, but I was it was crazy. It was like, how has no one ever done this for you before, lady? But regardless, a lot of us are just trying to follow the same path of being like a good, genuine human being. We try to be respectful. We try to work on ourselves. We try to stay loyal. We just overall try to do the right thing. It's like when you look around, it feels like the other guys are just cutting corners and playing games or just care less, and they're getting further ahead in, dating, their status, sometimes even just life in general. So that got me thinking, are a lot of men asking themselves the same question right now? What's the point in being a good man anymore? So I wanted to take today to break down why I feel like this feeling is so common and just overall why giving up on being good is just still the wrong move. So for starters, why does it feel so useless to just try and be a genuine human being nowadays? Well, for starters, culture kind of gives us really mixed signals. Because in modern society, men are told to be softer and more emotionally available, and then on the other side, we're still told that we need to be completely cold and cut off and we can't let anyone in emotionally. All that aside, it's almost like we still see men today that have a little bit of edge to them, that are kind of moving ahead, and they're attracting more interest from people. And because it's so common to not be a good person nowadays, it's almost like you see a lot fewer examples of this working. It's starting to feel like the path of trying to be a good person or being a gentleman is just outdated, Like today, modern, strong, grounded, and good men just aren't highlighted as often. When you look at social media, it feels like it's a highlight reel of all of the dudes that are being complete dicks to everyone. So social media definitely doesn't help with that, because we see, I would call it lowlights, but we always see these dudes that are just being complete douchebags. And when we see this and we still continue trying to be a good person, it's like our effort isn't always rewarded. We do our best to be as loyal as can be, super honest, and just a hardworking individual. And it still feels like that we just kind of end up invisible, And it's like this short-term erratic behavior from these other guys is getting a lot of faster results. I think the hard truth is that just in modern day society, these things are being rewarded because they help you stick out. Like, think about your parents, right? They were probably very nice people when they met, and they're still really nice people. I mean, a lot of the men from, the 70s, 80s, whatever, they weren't all complete dickheads. They had to win by being a nice dude. So when there's this cultural shift of, maybe that's the outdated thing that happened, and now all of a sudden it's like these dudes that are coming out of nowhere and treating people poorly, not being gentlemen in dating. It's like these are the guys that get ahead. It's probably because they get noticed. And this helps them with like their job interviews and things like that too, and their career paths. Like in this situation, I kind of think of myself. I work in a sales position, but I don't like to be a lying, stealing, salesy guy, I like to be honest with people. I like to help them understand exactly what they're getting, and I like them to make informed decisions. I'm just there to educate them on what we have. In a lot of sales positions, that type of honesty isn't necessarily looked upon favorably. Like, I interviewed for a car dealership once, right? And the dude hit me with the sell me this pen, right? And I went through it and I was asking him what we call qualifying questions. And he looked me in the eyes and said, "You've asked me too many fucking questions. Sell me the pen. I don't care if it was made by NASA or whatever it is that you say. I want you to sell me this pen." I was like, bro, you're letting me sacrifice my integrity to sell you a stupid $2 pen? Like, I get the point of the question, but it's like in that field, they were trying to manipulate me to think, hey, I need to do whatever it is that I can to close this deal, instead of being an honest and good person. And a lot of men are going through this type of thing right now. We don't want to be this stuck-up asshole that's always looked at poorly, because a lot of us were just raised better than that. We were raised by people that grew up in that kindness. You're taught to respect others because that's what you do. You pretty much love your neighbors no matter what. And we've lost a lot of that in modern day. Between navigating life when it comes to dating, what's happened to the kindness that we used to see? This lack of kindness has made a lot of us just really tired, Like, after all of this betrayal and rejection, or just years of trying to do the right thing without any payoff, that burnout sets in. That burnout makes cynicism look extremely logical. And this kind of leads me into, like, this is a trap that a lot of men will fall into, because they spend years trying to be this good person, trying to do the right thing, and they're like, what's the point? Why would I continue doing this if I'm reaping zero rewards? So they're going to become extremely bitter and checked out, or they're going to swing the complete opposite direction in the extreme and start acting like extremely selfish, childish, cold, or manipulative. And honestly, a lot of these reactions can be very understandable, but these usually make things a lot worse for you. Bitterness isolates you. Becoming a worse man might get you short-term results, but it costs you like your long-term self-respect and your long-term quality along the way. The fact of the matter is, a lot of us are after this instant gratification nowadays when it comes to anything. Landing that job that's going to pay us the high salary immediately out of college. Not working our way into a position that will pay us something, because a lot of us do have to start at the bottom, but regardless. There's that, there's acting like a complete douche when you're out at the bars or something like that and you're trying to pick up women. You're not sticking out from being a gentleman, so why would you try to be a gentleman in a place where drunk people might not receive gentlemen as well as being a complete asshole? But the truth that a lot of us don't necessarily want to hear is that being a good man was never supposed to be a strategy for having instant gratification or instant rewards. It's just a standard that you hold for yourself. If you're a good person and you're a gentleman and you show kindness to the world, it protects your self-respect. It attracts higher quality people over time. It's a long-term play, you know? It keeps you from being someone that you don't respect. You don't wake up and look in the mirror and go, how can I ruin someone's life today, you know? And it builds the kind of character that lasts past those short-term wins that you would see if you were on the opposite side. It's that the problem isn't being good is useless. The problem is being good without strength, standards, and without a backbone is bad for you. Like, when are we gonna understand that the world gives and the world takes? If we give more niceness and kindness to the world, it's going to reflect that directly back onto you. It might not be right away. It's going to take some time to see that. But if you continue being a good person, you're going to continue to attract the correct type of people to be in your life. Friends and family and relationships all around. All of it. Like, I can't imagine that the person that's been super bitter through the entirety of their 20s is happy with who they are right now. They may have made a bit more money. They may have been with more women. They may have accomplished a few more things than us. But imagine the amount of self-respect that they don't have for themselves. That's the basis of what I want to be talking about on this channel. Whether it's anything dating, mental health related, it all comes back to being a good person that has self-respect and having a backbone and standing up for yourself. And a part of that goes with being a good human being. We need to remember that we need to respect others at all costs. There is a saying that respect is earned, not given. But respect is also given when you've earned it. So why wouldn't we try to show respect to anyone and everyone? And respect comes in a lot of forms, but when it comes to just pursuing life, take it back to the basics. Hold the door open for someone. Take accountability if you accidentally bump into someone at the store. You know, be like, hey, my bad. I didn't mean that, you know? Instead of being like, get the fuck out of the way. Help the old lady take her shopping cart back to the rack. These little things don't go unnoticed. And it's like a lot of men today have forgotten that. But there are some things that we should be avoiding. Like, how can we be a good person without feeling like a chump, and also not taking things to the extreme where we're no longer a good person that has self-respect? And I think it all starts with not trying to pretend. I've said this once before, or maybe twice at this point, I don't know. If you're going to be a gentleman, you should do that because that's who you are, not because you're trying to impress anyone. And being a gentleman isn't just about dating. It's about noticing things around you, having respect and care for the other people, strangers, regular people in your life, like just doing your best to be an upstanding dude. And I know this might not be like super controversial, but it's also like, why has it gotten to the point where I feel like I've needed to talk about this? Why are strong-willed men nowadays becoming so much weaker when it comes to their personal lives and how they pursue everything? Not necessarily from a standpoint of physical strength, but mentally and emotionally.